The following are a general guideline of hiking levels to express the difficulty level and recommendations for our hikes. These strenuous levels are based on a combination of distance, altitude gain, rock scrambling, stream crossings, animal, young hiker safety, terrain type, and the overall difficulty of the trail as previously experienced by our hike leads. Please note that each hike is different and may require a few extra notes as expressed by the designated hike lead. Hiking levels. Level 1, Beginner. The easiest type of hike you can get with no real inclines. Stroll in the park. First-timers, beginners, kids okay, teens okay, dogs, water required. Level 2, Beginner. Next level with some simple inclines. First-timers, beginners, most kids, most teens, dogs, water required. Level 3, Beginner. Hikes with some basic experience gain. First-timers, beginners, some kids, most teens, dogs, water required. Level 4, Moderate. Good inclines with some stress on further distance. No beginners, some kids, most teens, dogs, water required. Level 5, Moderate. Inclines start to get more intense. Gain and distance goes up. No beginners, no kids, some teens, dogs, hiking footwear recommended, water required. Level 6, Moderate. Simple switchbacks and distance increase. Endurance and stamina required. No beginners, adults only, some dogs, hiking equipment required, hiking footwear recommended, water required. Level 7, Moderate. Expect some long inclines or switchbacks. Gain and distance increases. Long hours. No beginners, adults only, experienced hikers only, no dogs, hiking equipment, footwear required, water required. Level 8, Advanced. Intro to Advanced here. Distance hikes and more than moderate experience required. May last all day. No beginners, adults only, experienced hikers only, no dogs, advanced hiking equipment, footwear required, water required. Level 9, Advanced. Long distance hikes which may take more than 6 hours with great gain. May last all day. No beginners, adults only, experienced hikers only, no dogs, advanced hiking equipment, footwear required, water required. Level 10, Advanced. Longest hikes and/or greatest gain, inclines throughout the hike. May last all day. No beginners, adults only, experienced hikers only, no dogs, advanced hiking equipment, footwear required, water required. Disclaimer: LA trail hikers and its leads, organizers, participants do not take responsibility for any harm, bodily injury, accidents, or damage to personal property. By clicking attending or attending the event, you confirming that you understand that all outdoor activities such as hiking, backpacking, and trekking have an associated danger, and will not hold any hike lead, organizer, participant, LA trail hikers, or any group associated pet responsible for any hazard to your well-being. You are fully responsible for yourself.